Says I'm alive. Says I'm alive. Hello. This week's stitch is brought to us by a channel called Stella M, and it's the Tunisian tweed stitch. And if I tell you a little bit more about Stella M, she does Tunisian Tuesdays. So we might grab a bunch of her tutorials because she does them on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. But in the book, I'm trying to follow in this book, but then I look up a kind of a tutorial here on YouTube for the next stitch that's in this book. So the stitch in here for number 2 is Tunisian tweed, and this is what it's supposed to look like. And this is mine. So I don't know if I was successful or not because mine looks, I don't know. I guess it looks the same. But basically what Tunisian tweed is, it's the same as we learned last week. Let me pull that square out. It's the same as this one, except you change color every other row. So if you got ahead of yourself last week and didn't do a solid square like this, go back and do your solid square, because if you did change your color every week, you already did Tunisian tweed, just so you know. So this is just the regular. And I was also learned something from last week. This is the back, the side that looks like rows of stitches. The side that looks very textural is the right side for Tunisian tweed. So that's something I learned. And so if you didn't do a solid last week, go do a solid, because the Tunisian tweed is nothing but changing your color every return row. And what you do is you pick up, when you change color the first time, you just pick it up like she showed in the first one, and then you just carry it along the side. So when you have to switch color again, you drop the color you've been working on and you pick up the color that you need to switch to. And that's how you get this. All right. Now, Allie K is trying this with a regular crochet hook, and she's stuck like an eraser on the back for a stopper, which is an awesome idea if you don't want to go out and purchase a Tunisian set. And she pointed out that she was having some problems on the back. And I said, I think in the very first week, to be patient with yourself, because even I had some pieces like right here where I hadn't figured out the tension yet. And I got some little kind of bubbly spots. That's a tension issue. So give yourself some patience and grace, and just keep going, or try another square with what you have until you get your tension adjusted. Once you get your tension figured out, how to hold the hook and everything, it really is different, because you end up holding, or at least I do, I end up holding the hook back here and working like this, instead of when I do regular crochet, it's a lot more hand onto the hook. But because you're casting all those stitches on, you have to learn to get your tension right by holding from the end of a Tunisian hook. So that's just another thing to watch for. I'm doing 20 stitches cast on or crocheted on every week. And you can see here was my first week. This is the same 20 stitches changing color, and it came out a little bit narrower. And I think that's because, another reason is because my tension has been figured out. So now I know what to do. And so my blocks will probably all turn out like this. If not, I will make these work, because the length will be the same, I think. Let's see. Yeah, well, it might be a little bit shorter. But as long as they're close, I can turn them into something. Um, Kathy Whitney, I think, likes the idea of us just doing a stitch book with these, like treat each of our blocks like a page. So we'd have like this, and we'd stitch along one side, and then that way we could put little labels like this is Tunisian simple stitch, this is the Tunisian tweed, and we'd have a book, and we could kind of bind it like the slip knot binding, and that way it would lay flat. I don't know why we couldn't do that. But if you want to save your squares and turn them into a blanket, you could do that too. But I just got to thinking how cool it would be to have our very own stitch book that we could go back and say, "Ooh, I want to make a blanket out of that stitch," or whatever. All right. So Tunisian tweed is this week's stitch. And I feel like I almost should have used a more contrasting color so you could see the difference, but I'll put it up close, see. So that's it, Tunisian tweed, and that's all I had to share this morning. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. And thank you, Peg and Janice, for being here.